Well, I believe this session is going to be a session that is going to reveal to you a lot about where you're at, why you're where you're at, and what you need to do to change where you're at to get to where you want to be. I've done some of Mark's stuff and I've chatted with him about what we're doing this morning, and I am very personally excited about what this is going to do for all of us. And so I encourage you, really engage. I know it's early, but it's not super early. We had a little bit of feedback from last year that 9:30 was too early, so we're like, well, let's start at 10:30 this year. So amen to that, which was good. We got to enjoy the full breakfast time and checkout time and casually get up here. So it's going to be a good day today. But really, really engage. I encourage you this morning. And write notes, do the tasks. You'll notice an interesting wheel on the front of your notes there that we're going to get into in a little bit. But it is going to be really exciting. So I want you to put your hands together and welcome up Mark Rosetto as he comes to share with us this morning.
Thank you, Pastor Joe. Now, I love it that you always know that you're at a young adults retreat when the session starts at 10:30. That is awesome. It is much better than the 6 a.m. breakfast meetings and things like that. So having a sleep in is a good choice. Good choice. Cool. Okay, so for those that don't know me, my name is Mark Rosetto. I go to the Emerge Church in Redcliffe. Hands up to Redcliffe, yeah, it's awesome. My wife, Susanna, is with me as well. I've got 2 young kids, Lily and Levi, 6 and 4. They go to the They go to the kids' church there. And for those people that know them, they love coming to church. They love hanging out with you guys, like Laura and Bessie, like they're best friends. It's awesome. It's so cool. Now, I'm a qualified life coach, but I'm also a master photographer with the EYA PP, and I've been doing that for 10 years now, which is really cool. And I guess we're here today I want to ask some really challenging questions. I want to get you to start to think, and I don't want you to start sneaking to the next pages either. You need to go with me step by step, no cheating, all right? Now, who here is studying part-time or full-time? Who here is looking at dabbing into some sort of business? Cool. Who here is working full-time? Okay. So, wait, most of you did full-time and studying. So you're studying and working at the same full-time. Crazy. Good work, you guys. Awesome. Cool. Now, please have a pen and paper ready. An iPhone will not cut it. All right. There you go. 1 iPhone dropped, 1 pen and paper picked up. Beautiful. Okay. Who's ready to accelerate into 2018, yeah? Awesome. And who's ready to plan some goals, set up a bit of a direction, and want to move forward, yeah? 10:30, we'll work on it. Last question, you can get excited. Who's ready to have some fun along the way? We'll work on it. All right. Okay, so the funny story is that at the start, just make sure my clicker is clicking. We did test this beforehand. There you go. The main thing that you need to do is just turn up. The fact that you guys are here today is a really good start. To tell you a story, to go back when I was 18, my next door neighbour was a pastor of a church, and they were having this thing called Camp No Fear. It was from year 7 to year 12. We weren't a part of a Christian home at all. We went to Catholic schools, but that's as far as it had gone. My sister was studying to be a nurse, so they invited her to come to the camp to be the camp nurse, and she was going for free, and they wanted me to go. And I was like, yeah, nah, I'm all good. And Michelle's like, I'm only going if you're going. And I went, that's fine. I'm only going if you pay half. So she did. She paid half. That camp was really awesome. It was pretty much a cornerstone changing of my life, which was brilliant. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it after. But there's something about going to camps and retreats just like this, immersing yourself in God's presence and hearing from speakers that just blows your mind. It's probably if I can remember back to all the times that I had the most divine encounters, it was at retreats and conferences and camps and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that you're here is a really good start. Now, the other part is that I do have a secret at the same time. Now, my story is that growing up, I had a pretty severe speech impediment. Has anyone seen the King's Speech? Pretty much just like that. It was not good. Couldn't say see, it still comes back to haunt me. I couldn't say my first name. I wouldn't talk to people. At primary school, you get teased and all that kind of stuff. At high school, with oral presentations and English, do you know how you read? Each person reads kind of like a page. Nope. Not me. I'm trying to tapping out on that one. My name was for quite a long time because Mark, the sound M, was a really hard sound to say. So when someone would ask me what my name was, I'd be like, and I'd just struggle. And it's like, what? Your name is And it's like, and then I just walked away. It wasn't nice. It was hell, actually. It was horrible. I'm dyslexic. My grammar is atrocious. My English is pretty bad. My disclaimer for this morning is that just get the general gist of what I'm trying to say. All right? My wife always says to mention that. You'll get the general gist, all right? So what happened in March 2002, I did a 7-day intensive speech therapy course. Pretty much learn how to talk again. So to give you an idea, we talk at a rate of about 200 to 250 syllables per minute. Has anyone done any speech therapists, any cool occupational therapists and stuff? So 200 to 250 words a minute. Now, I had to go all the way back to 50 to 60. Now, to give you an example, it sounds a bit like this. Hi, my name is Mark, and I'm doing this presentation today. Imagine talking like that for a whole day. Bessie's smiling at the same time. It's ridiculous. But the funny part is I had 20 other people in the room that were doing the same thing. Also, the light bulb moment happened when you look at the 20 people in the room and you secretly go to yourself, glad I'm not that guy. He's shocking. I'm glad I'm not that chick. She's all over the shop. And I kind of realized that it was a bigger deal to me than it was to the people around me, that it wasn't really that bad. It was bad. It was horrible. But it wasn't really that bad compared to what other people had. So I learned how to get confidence. I learned how to talk again. I learned how to work with anxiety and how to overcome, pretty much. I learned to talk all over again, which was cool. Now, the fun part about that was that at the camp, right? So I did the course in 2002 in March. At the camp was at the end of 2002. So I had a little bit of, time to get used to my new words and techniques. And it was only at that camp that, having that touch from God is just phenomenal. So 3 days at the camp, my speech is perfect. Perfect. And my sister's there and she's like, do you realise that your speech has been perfect for 3 days? And I was like, yeah, I guess it has. That's pretty cool, isn't it? She goes, it's never been perfect. Some people said, because I was around other young people and I'm relaxed and stuff, I disagree. I think it's just a divine intervention. It was like, I remember the final night in the worship and giving my life to Jesus, and just like the weight of the world just drops off. the kilos of just going, oh, thank you, Jesus. Like, that freedom is phenomenal. So when we're going through that, that was the diagnosis I had. You can't see that dot very well. Broken words, long pauses, fluency. Like, it was actually quite fun though, because if I was to do a presentation back then for an hour, I would only actually have to prepare for half an hour, because it would take me half an hour to get through the extra bits. So that's all the things that I had. The connection between the practical, come on clicker, you let me down. The connection between practically learning how to talk again and then spiritually connection is just a massive winning combination. Huge winning combination. And having that connection is phenomenal. So how did I get to here then? Well, let me take you back. When I was 16 to 25, I joined the CFA in Victoria, but I couldn't pass the test because I couldn't talk on the radio. It's just, it's like if you're colourblind, they don't kind of let you in. And then from there, I worked in a bar. Now, it's quite easy to hide in a bar because it's loud and I don't have to actually talk to anyone. I just lean over, hear what they want, pour the drink, give them the money, and we're all good. Don't need to talk to anyone. But then I had this grand idea to move to the Whit Sundays, which was awesome. And in the Whit Sundays, I became an underwater dive photographer. Isn't that just the coolest job in the world? And I'm like, I'm underwater. I don't even have to talk to anyone. This is awesome. Now, I didn't really realise that being underwater, taking photos, means that you have to get on top of the water and actually sell your photos on the way home. And I remember the first time on this one particular boat, he gave me a microphone and he said, here you go. You got to sell your photos now. And I'm like, I remember struggling through it, and there was this one guy who said, don't worry, mate, we've got 45 minutes until we get home, take your time. And I was like, I fumbled my way through. I was never invited on that boat again, so I went on another boat, which was cooler anyway. And then, so I actually learned how to talk face-to-face. There's 60 people on the boat every day that I need to connect with. I need to figure out where they're from and what they're doing and get them excited about their trip in the Whit Sundays and Whitehaven Beach and on the outer reef and sell the photos, and it was really good fun. So it took me 2 years to work out that part, and then from there we moved to the UK. Now, I met my wife in the Whit Sundays. We were together for about 8 months. And she goes, oh, by the way, in 8 weeks' time, I'm moving to the UK. Do you want to come? And I was like, do you want me to come? She goes, if you want. And I'm like, well, I really love my job. This is really fun. Do you really want me there? So I ended up following, just letting you know the good thing happened. We stayed together. We got married. It was all worth it in the end. But in London, in the UK, I worked for a gym. And I'm like, I'm feeling pretty fit. At this time, I'm 23. 22, and I'm like, I'm feeling good, I'll work in a gym. Talking to people, I'm cool with. So I get there, I get the job, I get my desk. On my desk, this is a computer, and on the beside the computer is a phone. And I'm like, what's that for? He's like, oh, well, out of the 8 hours, you probably need to spend probably 4 to 5 of it on the phone calling people. Yes, Lena, I made that face as well. Really? Do I have to? In the end, I just sucked it up. The first 5 phone calls was a disaster, absolute disaster. But over time, just gained some confidence, and we kept on going. From there, I worked for a photography studio in the UK, and I face-to-face phone calls, worked with a team of 8 people, and had a lot of fun doing that. That's where that photography really kicked off. Going from the photography studio, I then came home to Australia and I worked for a company called Excite. This is the wedding company. This is one of the biggest photography studios in Melbourne, and working with one of the top 10 wedding photographers in the world. So this was a pretty big deal. And it was fun. It was really cool. I did that on the weddings on the sides. My clicker. Come on. Then I worked for a Melbourne portrait studio, and then I learned how to run a small business doing before and after school care. Who's ever done before and after school care? Who loves waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get there for 6, to be there for 2 hours, to come home for 5 hours, to go back for another 3 hours and get home at 6:30? Glamorous job. But you know what? I did that job to set up my own photography studio for 6 months. I put in some hard yards, but I did it anyway. And I actually opened enhanced photography studios when I was 25. Ran my own business at 25. I didn't just jump into it and hope. I had the training. I had the training from the boat. I had the training from the gym with sales and marketing. I worked with other photographers. I knew what I was doing when I started the business. At 25, we rocked it. We became one of the largest photography studios in Melbourne, photographing 500 families a year, and then we had a team of 3 at the same time. I sold that in December 2015, and then I moved to Queensland, because why wouldn't you do that? It's awesome. Now, when I moved to Queensland, I also studied a diploma of life coaching and business coaching, which is really cool. Now, being a photographer, master photographer, I work with photographers to help photographers be professional photographers, pretty much, all right? Now, the fun part is that earlier this year, I put an application in to become a speaker at Las Vegas for the Wedding and Portrait Photography International Conference, which is pretty much the biggest conference in the world for the photography industry. And I put the application in, I'm like, gee, I hope I get this, Lord, I hope I get this, Lord, I hope I get this. I got the email, and I'm like, email, you confirmed you are a speaker. And I'm like, yes! And I'm like, no. Like, I'm going to be talking on a platform class with a couple of 100 photographers. And I'm like, what have I just done? Now, the freaky part is, look at the journey. You know, like, it's going to work on this side. Like a lamp to my feet, right? At 18, pretty much couldn't really do anything. Couldn't say my name, didn't know what work I was going to do, didn't know what job I was going to do, didn't study, didn't really do anything. Moved to the Whit Sundays for shits and giggles because I thought it'd be fun to work in the Whit Sundays because I heard it'd be really cool. And then just over that time, you know, I got a job on the boat, face to face, learned to talk to people. I got a job at the gym. I need to learn to talk to people on the phone. I got a job in one of the biggest studios in the UK. They had 100 studios, and we were the top 3 out of those. We pulled in £1 million by August, which was huge. Working with one of the biggest photography studios in Melbourne and one of the biggest photographers in the world. And just starting the business, Enhance, was extremely successful and it did extremely well. And I sold that. And there's not many photographers that can do that. To all the way, do what I'm doing now and go to Vegas. I look back and go, wow, I did not see that coming. If you had told me at 18 that I'll be talking on the biggest platform in Vegas to hundreds of photographers, I'd go, God, you got the wrong guy. Next. I'm tapping out. But you know what? Like a lamp to your feet, you've just got to take each step as it comes. You don't know what job is going to be next. You don't know what opportunity is going to be next. Whatever job and opportunity you have, take it. Take it by the horns. You know, take the bull by the horns and just run with it. Because the opportunities that follow, you don't know yet. I didn't know that working on a boat would lead me to talking to Vegas. That connection was not there. So having that connection is extremely important. So enough about me. We're going to go through some tips for success. So what we're going to cover today is the vision for the future, focus and take action, and then we're going to cover get some confidence in yourself. Now, after lunch, the confidence in yourself, we're going to work on that, after morning tea, but we're going to cover these other 3 topics as well. Okay, so What we're going to do, vision for the future, I had to do something photography in there, just a little bit. All right, so the question is be, do, have. Has anyone heard of that before? No? Cool. So the question is, who do you need to be? This is going to work. Who do you need to be to do what you need to do to get what you want to have? Come on. To get what you want to have. Be, do, have. I knew my do. My do was I want to run a successful photography studio. I know the systems, the processes, how it works, and what we need to do. My have is I know that I wanted a studio with a team of 3 or 4, and I wanted to have a portrait studio, and I knew what I wanted to have. My be, I didn't know who I had to be to do the job I needed to do to get what I wanted to have. My bosses previously were all people that I didn't really want to model. They're all people that kind of like, you know, nice guy, nice girl, but I don't, you know, they're not carrying, that's not who I want to be. Until I worked for that studio in Melbourne, Nick Jonas, his name is, he was my B. He's a rock star. He's got the right mindset, he's a great photographer, and he's a great business owner, and he was who I wanted to be because he's got a successful business, and he's a brilliant person, photographer, and everything above. So the question is, who's your be, do, have? Your be might be like Pastor Joe. Go, what mindset does Pastor Joe need to be in when he's making decisions? What do I need to do to have a successful business? Who can I model who's doing what I want to do? What do I want to actually have, which I'm going to cover in just a second. Like, what do you want? What's the end result that you're after? So when you're modeling with people and when you're looking at people and when you're trying to decide what to do, if you don't know what to do, I used to go turn up at a photography location and be like, oh, man, this is awesome. What would Nick do if he was here? You know what? I reckon he would use those stained glass windows. So you might be making a choice going, you know what? I've got to make a decision about work and study. I'm going to talk to someone who's 2 steps forward in front of me about work and study. If I got stuck in the wilderness with a Stanley knife, I would be like Bear Grylls, you know? Or stuck in a shed, I would be like MacGyver and come out in a race car. It's like, who do you need to be to do what you need to do to get what you want to have? All right? So we're going to cover on to now your wheel. So we're going to look at the wheel, and it's got 8 different components. All right? This is a really cool, quick health check that is absolutely brilliant. What we're going to do is you can see anything that's in the middle is a 0, and on the outside is a 10. 0 means you are 0 satisfied in that area of your life. At 10 means that you're rocking it, absolutely killing it. It's exactly what I wanted it to be like, and this is how it's going to be like, and it's awesome. Okay? I'm going to ask you lots of challenging questions now, and at the end, I want you to actually put a little dot in the middle here of where you rate yourself on the wheel. Cool? You with me? Awesome. Now, sometimes you're going to love these results, and sometimes you're not going to, but that's all right. That's what we're here for. Okay. Don't fill it out yet. Wait until I finish. Business and career. If you work for someone else, do you like your tasks? And how much do you like your colleagues, your work environment, your career prospects, your work-life balance, your training and upskilling, and your boss? If you own your own business, how's it going? How's your customers, your clients? How's your business plan? How's the execution of the business plan? How's your business model? Your growth plans for the business, the work-life a balance and the lifestyle you'll experience because of your business. So take everything into consideration and give yourself a score. 1 to 10. In business and career, where does that look like for you? Okay, we go into finances. How's your income level? Do you want a passive income or do you already have one? Your outgoings, your expenditures, your savings, your long-term financial stability, your investments. Are you living paycheck to paycheck or have you got a little bit of money saved up? Are you saving for that next big thing like a holiday or a car or a drone? Like Nick, but that's all right, we won't go there. How's your finances looking? Give yourself a score. 1, not so good. 10, I'm rocking it. We're doing really, really well. Give yourself a score. Okay. Then we get on to health. Exercise. Who's doing a lot of it? Or none of it at all? Are you fueling your body with the right foods and liquids? Are you staying hydrated? Are you having enough sleep at night? Do you have enough time to yourself? How's your daily vitality? Are you slumping around or are you feeling quite energized? How often do you get sick with colds and flus? How often do you get sick as well? So give yourself a score out of 1 to 10. Take everything into consideration and write down where you fit in there. Okay. Now, the next one, this is the fun one, your family and friends. Now, this is your relationship with them, not what you think about them. All right? Especially when you're sitting next to some of your family and friends as well. So just no peeking people. All right? So the frequency, interaction with these people, is it not enough? Is it too much? The quality of the relationships with the people. Have you had the conversations that needed to be had, or is there tension in the air with your family that you just haven't had the conversation yet? Supportiveness of the relationships. Are they supporting your ultimate dreams and goals? Emotionally, physically, spiritually? Or do you need some more support and nurturing? The growth and progress of the relationships. Are you growing together? Or is it a bit of a kind of like a mismatch? You know? Are you hanging around people that you know you shouldn't be hanging around because they're actually bringing you down? They're not building you up at all. How's your long-term relationships going? Can you see a future in it? Do you want to nurture it or do you want to cut it off? So give yourself a score, 1 to 10, and put yourself in there. Are you happy about your friends and family? Or you need to spend more time with these people? Alrighty. Then we have romance. Now, if you're single, it's not just for couples. It's the romance. It's yourself love. It's how you see yourself. It's how you can find indulgent moments with yourself, whether it's going out for coffee by yourself, going for a long walk on the beach, and just spending some time in a long bath or something, whatever that looks like to you. Are you feeling loved and appreciated from the people around you? It might be your partner, it might be your family as well. Are you having quality time and connection with your partner, or do you sit around in the evening playing on your Facebook for 2 hours and then you turn to them, it's like, oh, okay, good night, I'm going to bed. And you're like, oh, okay. Are you spending quality time? Are you having the conversations that need to be had? Give yourself a score. 1 to 10. 1, you're completely satisfied. 10, you're... 1, you're not satisfied. 10, you're completely satisfied. All right? Next one is personal growth. Are you getting your spiritual growth? Well, you're here. That's a great start. Are you learning? Emotional? Are you dealing with your stuff? Everyone's got some stuff to deal with. Are you actually dealing with your stuff, or are you hiding from your stuff? Are you getting past the blockages and the things that are holding you down? Are you growing? Do you need to find some more happiness and love and connection, or whatever that looks like to you, to help you to feel a sense of who you really are? Pretty heavy questions in there, isn't it? Okay. Fun and recreation. This is a good one. Fun and recreation. How much time are you spending having fun? Is there a good balance? Is there too much fun that you're not doing any work at all and you actually don't have a job, so all your day is have fun with people? Or is there not enough that you're working too hard and you're just not having any time for yourself? Are you enjoying the things that you're actually doing, your frequency, the environment? Are you surrounding yourselves with the environment that you love, whether it's going into the city or whether it's going to the beach or whether it's going for a walk? Are you getting enough adventure and connection? Do you realize that your fun and recreation is connected with all of the other areas of your life as well? Give yourself a score, 1 to 10. 1 not so, 10, you're rocking that area, you're enjoying yourself. Last one, physical environment. Now the physical environment there's a few little grey areas here. Your physical environment is your home environment, whether you live at your parents' place, whether you have an apartment, whether you're working from home or working at an office. Your environment, take into consideration your whole environment, okay? Is it comfortable? Is it meeting your basic needs? Is it crammed and dark and kind of dingy, or is it light and bright and with some space? Is it cluttered? Are you surrounded by your perfect environment? If you saw my office at the moment, not so perfect environment. Fresh air, do you get enough of it? Natural light and the temperature, are you comfortable in the temperature that you're in? All these environments. You know, you might have a tiny apartment, but you work in a beautiful building with lots of space and great people. You might have a beautiful house, but you work in the city somewhere that you don't even like going to because you're in an office where you don't even really want to be there and you're sitting by yourself because you're just not around any of your colleagues and it doesn't work for you at all. So take all those into consideration. Okay? Cool. Now the question is, line up all the dots. That's better. That 1 meter makes a difference. Line up all the dots of your page, draw a circle, line them up. Now the question is, if you were to put your wheel on the wheel of a car that's normally nice and round, will it be round or will it be a little bit bumpy? When you look at your life, you need to make sure you're looking at your life holistically, that everything takes into consideration. So this one up here is a really good example of a business professional. Business and career is good, your finances are good because you've got a good career and you're making lots of money, which is great, but your health and your friends is very ordinary, and your romance, you've got no time because all you're doing is really working. And your personal growth is awesome because you're going to conferences and you're doing online classes and everything else, but you've got no time for fun because there's just not enough time in your day. And your physical environment's awesome because you're earning the money to buy the car that you wanted to have and live in the place that you want to live. Or if you're a student, it'll probably look a little bit more like this. Your business and career, well, you're working full time, so the finances aren't really there. But I tell you what, your friends and family are rocking because you've got all the time in the world to hang out with them. Your romance is good, your personal growth is good because you're studying. You're actually learning the whole time, which is great. Your fun and recreation is awesome because you've got all the time in the world. You're studying, you're carefree, you don't even have a job, so it doesn't really matter. And your environment is pretty average because you don't have the money to afford what you want to have. I remember when we lived in the UK, there was a lot of 2-minute noodles, a lot of 2-minute noodle meals. And there's a lot of times where we really couldn't afford to do the things what we want to do because it was just a stage. Now, the fun part about all this is this wheel is designed to get you to think. So what we're going to do, I want you to choose one area in your wheel that you would love to work on. Now, normally it's a low storing area. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it with a low storing area. I want you to write down, what rating out of 10 did you give yourself and why? So this is a practical workshop where you have to write stuff. Why did you give yourself a 10 for? What would a 10 out of 10 look like for you in that area of your life? Some people are quick thinkers and can write it straight away. Some people need to kind of mill over this, so consider it your homework. So the two questions there. What rating out of 10 did you give yourself and why? And what would a 10 out of 10 look like for you? Give you some thinking music. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. If you flip over your page, what actions or decisions could you take to make it a 10 out of 10 for you? So when I did this when I moved to Queensland, my really low was friends and family, because my friends and family are in Melbourne, all of them. Apart from my wife's parents and her sister, everything else was left behind. So I've had a pretty lonely first year in Brisbane trying to get connected. So a 10 out of 10 for me would be, the three small things that I could do to commit next week to help starting moving towards the outcomes you want in this area is I joined the AIPP Queensland photography committee because I wanted to be around other photographers because they're interested in what I'm interested in, and I need a friend. I started a Facebook group called Mueller 2028 because that's the year that my son will be finishing year 12, and I started a Facebook group with all of the other parents in the group to connect with them with kind of like a play dates and things because I wanted to connect with other people. So think outside the box. What are 3 outcomes? I want you to fill it out now. What are the 3 small things that you can commit to doing in the next week that would help move you towards the outcomes that you want? If you can't think of 3, just do 1. Oh, we've got thinking music. That's awesome. Some people are like, this is easy. I'm just pushing these out, and other people are like, oh, I'm in a lot of trouble here. Don't feel that you need to fill it all out right now. If you need to go home and think about it and process it, that's absolutely fine, all right? Can you make the changes on your own? Who else is on your team? To make more friends, I kind of did it on my own, but I became in a team with the Queensland photography community to connect with other people. My wife and I work as a team now to make sure our kids have the play dates with other kids and parents so we can hang out with them. So who's on your team? Who do you need to speak to gain some knowledge and resources in this area of your life? So if it's about health, you might want to talk to someone who's a PT or someone who's gone down that road before. If it's jobs and career, Emerge has an amazing business group. Get a part of it. Get a part of hanging around other people who do what you want to do. If you want to compare your wheel, you can. If you want to hide it, you can as well. All right. Let's move on. Whenever you're making these decisions, it's really important to take it through the process of an ecology check. Pretty much use your common sense. Ask yourself 3 questions. Is it good for me? Is it good for others? Is it good for greater good? Are the decisions I'm making about my life going to affect other people in my life? You've got to check in. What will the effect be on your family, your brothers, your sisters, your partner, your kids? What about your finances? How will it affect your work? How will it affect your health? I can tell you now that there's also a time and a season for everything. When you're studying and you've got exams, you're up until 1, 2, 3 in the morning cramming work, and you are working really hard to get those assignments completed and finished because you know that there's an end goal that you're going to have the release at the end. There's a time in the photography space between probably start of November to December that it's Christmas clients. All the Christmas clients come in and you get slammed with work and you are doing huge amount of overtime. But you know, after Christmas, things quieten down. There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time to have a gap year. We spoke about gap years. Now, gap year is 1 year. Gap year isn't 2 years or 3 years or 4 years of a gap, because a lot can happen in 4 years. I went from working on a boat in the Whitsundays at 21 to traveling the world, owning my own studio at 25 in 4 years' time. You've got to keep moving at the same time. There's a time and season for everything. This is Lily. Everyone's saying, no, no. So the question is, what does success look like to you? In your booklet, what does it look like to you? Are you clear about your direction? Where do you want to be in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months? I love last night that Pastor James is like, don't think about, even 6, 12, 24 months now seems really short. Like 20 years. If you want to be movers and shakers of the industry, like being a teacher and being the principal and being someone of influence, you've got to start all the way down the end knowing that there's a direction that you want to go in. You really need to make sure that you have a plan. Now, I must admit, at 18, I didn't have a plan. I just thought the Whitsunday sounded really cool and working on a dive boat sounds awesome. But you know what? Like a lamp to my feet, God had the plan. I didn't have a plan. I was just following the steps. I didn't have a beacon torch to see where I was going to be in 15 years. Just a lamp to my feet. You've given me this job, I'm going to do it really well. Then that job has gone, I'm going to do another job, and then I'm going to do that really, really well. And then that job gone, and that led me to another job, and I'm going to do that really, really well. It's take the steps you need to take. All right? Cool. Okay. Focus and taking action. This is a fun one. It's really basic. Decision-making strategies. It's really easy. Don't overcomplicate it. There's no failure, there's only feedback to improve. To show how easy it is, there's a little picture for you as well. You make a decision. Now, I'm going to be black and white here, but obviously there's a grey area. You make a decision, it's going to be a good decision or a bad one. There's going to be an outcome, and from the outcome, you can choose to grow from it. Really easy. Let me give you a very quick example. When I started my photography studio, everyone knows that in business you need a logo and a website. Don't dwell on it for 6 months and stuff around with the font and the colour being 10% in or 10% out and actually not moving forward to growing your business because you're just stuck on a logo and a name. We had a logo and a name. 6 months later, we changed it. It was too corporate. It didn't reach our target market. We got a new logo and a new name. So the good decision at the bad is that we got a logo. In the end, it was a bad decision because the logo didn't suit our brand, and we kind of branded, and that's just what we had to do, which is fine. The other one is doing my speech course. At 18, you think, I'm pretty cool at 18. No, I don't really want to do that. Don't really feel like it. Sometimes you need a big, drastic event to happen in your life to go, yeah, maybe I do. If you want to go to the website, you can read the story of what actually happened that triggered that course. And, it was the best decision I ever made. The best decision. I didn't want to do it. Sometimes you got to do what you don't really want to do. The thought of doing it was painstakingly rather stab myself in the eye with a spoon. Did not want to go. But I knew that I had to go and do it. An example of a bad choice is that when you hear the rattle underneath your car, you should go to the mechanic and get it fixed. I decided to go, she's smirking at me because I got in a lot of trouble for this. Nah, should be right. Decision, bad decision. Outcome, the turbo blew up. Result, $6,000. Brand new car, not cool at all. But the main thing is you just got to do something. You've got to do something. You've got to take action. You've got to get moving. Because end of the day, you can't steer a ship unless it's moving. You can't sit here and go, you know what? I see it time and time and time again when I'm coaching my photographers. All the time. Mark, I need new clients. Mark, I need new clients. I need more clients. I need to do marketing. Come up with a marketing strategy. I walk away. I go back a week later. How'd you go with it? Oh, I'm still struggling for clients. Did you do the work? Oh, no, I got a bit caught up. I got a bit busy. I wasn't really comfortable with doing a Facebook Live, or I wasn't really comfortable with, putting myself out there. And what happens is time and time again, we circle and circle around because we're not moving. We're absolutely standing still, and we're in a position where it's like, God, use me. God, I pray that I get a job. Oh, I have to apply it first, don't I? I've got to write a cover letter. You go to the other side, it's like, oh, I'd love a new car. God, I pray that I get blessed with a new car. Oh, I kind of need a job to pay for the car, don't I, as well? I want to join the worship team, and I want to be a singer, and I want to go up on stage, and I want to go on stage. Don't really want to join the worship team because I don't really want to spend the time going to church before and after church and kind of having to put the hours in, I don't really feel like it. And sometimes you've got to do business and life, some things that you just don't feel like, because we need to be moving. You have to be moving. You can't steer a ship unless it's moving at all. God might be sitting there, and Joe, you said this morning, you're just about to walk the door and close the door, and God puts his foot in. I wouldn't put his finger in because that would really hurt, but his foot would be much better. And you know what? God's sitting there looking for people going, oh, I really want to bless you, but you're just not moving. You're just not doing anything. You're on a break here. It's been 3 years. Get over it. You've got to make a decision. Do a course. Do a study. Team up with someone. Join a team. Be a part of the community. Who's your be-do have? What are they doing? What processes are they going through to make decisions about their life, and where are they getting directed in? Because God's sitting there waiting to bless you sometimes. He's kind of like, come on, I really want to bless you, but you've got to work with me here. You've got to work with me. I want to take you to places that you've never dreamed of, but you've got to get started. And the starting part is the hard part. You just need to sometimes take control of your own life and get moving, because they ain't going to do it for you. You're at a stage now that, You're big enough and ugly enough to look after yourselves. If your parents have ever said that to you, maybe mine did. Maybe that's an issue. We'll talk about that later. But you know what I mean? Like, you're at an age where you're adults. You're stepping into adulthood here. Go do something. You know, your parents can only take you so far. It's kind of like, you know, they look back and it's like, right, you're 18, you're 20, you're 25. They're there. Now go do it. I've done well. 18 years. I've got you this far. Now it's your time to put on your big girl pants and your big boy pants and get out into the world, and you need to make a decision and get moving. Okay? Now, it sounds like a harsh reality check at the same time, but I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to give you some really cool practical tips now on time to grow. We're going to look at your goals, your reality. We're going to look at the options that you have, and we're going to look at the way forward. We are revisiting back on the wheel, and we are choosing one area of the wheel that you're going to work on. And I want you to answer these quick questions specifically to that component of your life. Cool? Yeah, got one, yeah, awesome. And there's a nice little picture there as well. Okay, so you've got your goals. Who's seen the notebook? Awesome. Very cool. What do you want? It's not that easy. It is. Like, what do you want? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What specific outcomes do you want to achieve? What is a score now, and what will be a fantastic result after you've achieved something, after you've worked on this? I want you to write that down. In here, in your book, you've got your goals. What do you want? Now remember, guys, you need to stay with me that you're focused on that one particular area of your life the whole time. You're not swapping and changing, because no matter which area you choose, if someone avoided the area that you really wanted to work on, but you didn't choose that one because it's a little bit too deep for you, so you chose an easy one, you know what? It doesn't work like that, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. You're going to come back to it anyway. So what do you want? So write it down in your book, guys. What do you want in that specific area of your life? What is your score now, and what would you love it to be after you're working on this? For me, getting some friends in Brisbane, I gave myself a year, because it takes a year to, you know, connect with people and catch up with people. I made the effort of connecting with my kids' friends' parents, and now we've got a great circle of friends with our kids who are all at the same ages, and we get to hang out together, and it's fantastic. Don't worry, guys. I ended up having friends in the end, so it's all good. So then from your goals, what's the reality? What is it about your current situation that shows you that you need to really work in this area of your life? Reality for me was really simple. I didn't have any friends. I had no one to call and hang out with or at all. So I had to step out and make some friends and get connected with the community and the photographers and the church and other people in the area. So what's missing between the way you would like it to be and the way you are right now? Where's the gap? Mind the gap, if you've been to the UK. What obstacles are in the way that could prevent you from achieving your goals? What obstacles? If it's health, it might just be time. You work full time and you struggle to get to the gym or to do exercise. It might be finance, might be the part you're struggling in, but you're still studying full time. And you know what? That's okay, because there's a time and season for absolutely everything. It might be your family and friends, more so your family, that you've been avoiding them. Or there's the disconnect in your family because avoiding things is so much easier than really dealing with stuff. So from here, we're going to look at your options, the bottom of the page. What I want you to do is just spend 2 minutes. List as many options as you can and possibilities as you can that could help you move closer to your goal. Now I can tell you now your first, say 2 to 5 will be a bit tough to really think of them. But I can tell you now that once you get from 5 to 10, the rest will flow. You need to think outside of the box. So when I did this, I was photographers in the area, kids' school friends, church. Well, that was an easy 3. Then I was like, photography groups in the area, jet ski groups in the area, stand-up paddle groups in the area, the life-saving club, the basketball club. Like, I'm kind of like, where do I want to hang out and connect with people? I know that Pastor Mark, he plays darts. That's his thing on a Tuesday night. So start thinking about the options that you have. Is this okay, guys? Is this good? Yeah. It's a bit heavy for a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, isn't it? Okay. All right, so I can see that most people have 2 or 3 or 4 points there. Good stuff. So then now, the way forward. What I want you to do is firstly, look at your list and which are the ones that are truly going to move you forward. Truly going to move you forward. So me writing, join a jet ski group, is probably not really truly going to move me forward to get friends, because at that stage I didn't even have a jet ski. But I can join the photography groups, I can join the church, and I can get started to be connected with parents. And I made sure that I do school pickup and drop off every day and get there 5 to 10 minutes early so I can have conversations with the people, rather than rock up at the school in my car and who has a prep that really walks to your car? That doesn't happen, but you know, you get the idea. I could just meet him in the car park at the same time. He's in grade 2 now. I could do that, but I'm going to choose not to. I'm making a conscious decision that I want to pick up and drop off my son to A, make sure he's nice and safe, and B, to connect with other parents and his teacher. All year, for the last 2 years, we've never done parent-teacher interviews. Because the teacher's like, I talk to you every day, so if I need something, I'll kind of talk to you. Don't worry about coming, it's fine. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Everything good? Yep, everything's good. Great, awesome. He goes, doesn't everyone need a parent-teacher interview? And she's like, well, only if there's some parents she's never met. Been teaching their kids for 8 months, and she's never met their parent. And I'm like, I find that just awkward. I want to be really involved, but this is the season I'm going through too, because I've got the flexibility to pick up and drop off. Understand that some parents, they don't. So not kind of judging any perspective there. It's just, if there's opportunity to make a change and connect with people, take the opportunity. Don't take the easy way out, because sitting in a car that's air-conned and waiting for my son will be so much easier. Is there some research needed and conversations that you need to have to clear some space, especially in terms of your health and your fitness? If you do want to be more healthy and you want to do some fitness, you might be looking at food plans. You might be looking at joining a gym. You might have to clear something out of your diary to have some space. All right? When the barriers come up against you, what's your plan to smash them down? How are you going to overcome them? Because I can tell you now, I made a conscious effort to want to get fit in 2018. And I went for a run First time, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, yes, I'm doing it. It's like January the 2nd, and I'm like, I'm doing it. This is awesome. Come home, massive blister on the back of my heel. Clearly, God just doesn't want me to run. So now, I'm swimming in the pool instead. I'll take the kayak and go for a kayak around the backyard, up and down the canals or something. Like, blessed are the flexible. When something doesn't come up your way, then have options. This is why that page is so important, to have options. All right? Cool. Okay. Now, we're going to do a SMART goal. Really easy. I want you to be specific with your language. I want it to have a measurable outcome. I want to make sure that it also is achievable and that you know when you've achieved it. Okay? I want it to be realistic. Now, some people say, you know, shoot for the stars and you might land on the moon, which is cool. If you want to go that way, then that's absolutely fine. In this example, make sure it's realistic and you're actually going to be able to reach your goal so that you can reward yourself at the end. And make sure it's time-bound. Let me give you an example. I want to have a business and career in coaching to allow me to live a lifestyle to be comfortable, pay the bills, invest, save, make donations as I choose. My goal is to have a total income of $100,000 in the next 18 months. It's specific, it's measurable, it's realistic, it's achievable, and it's time-bound. I want you to write one for yourself in the spaces that you have available. You don't need to make it a sentence. You just need to go, what do I want? It might be, I want to live a healthy life and the ability to play games with my kids and feel good. I want to lose 10 kilos in 8 months. Whatever that looks like to you. Have some goals. Be really specific. When you say, you know, I know that there's 2 photographers in the room, at least. I want to be a great photographer. Bit too broad. There's too much space there. I want to do a course that's going to teach me how to do lighting and posing, and I want to photograph 4 families that I'm comfortable with in the next 4 months, which means I've got 1 shoot a month. There you go. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Alrighty. Then the next part's the fun part. How are you going to celebrate your successes? Turn over the page for me. How are you going to celebrate your wins? My first ever win for the photography studio was I brought a 42-inch plasma TV. It cost me $1,700. It was awesome. It was like my little trophy. Now that is like a little reminder of the hard work I've done and the reward for all the hard work I've done. That I've actually achieved something, that I've got something out of it. That TV is now in the playroom with my kids to play Nintendo and watch the TV on. A small win might be going out for lunch, going out for breakfast, a weekend away, buying a drone, buying something that is kind of, you know, getting yourself new shoes, handbag, t-shirt, get a haircut. I don't know. What's a small things that you can kind of pat yourself on the back and have a little win along the way? Then it's the fun part. They're the small rewards. I like this one much bigger. Much better. What are the big rewards? What are the things that you can really go, you know what? I'm really happy with this. After about 12 months of starting my photography studio, I bought myself a car in cash. It was awesome. Now, don't get carried away. It wasn't like a $50,000 car. It was like a $15,000 X-Trail type of car. But either way, that was my, reward for myself because A, we needed a new car. At that stage, I was driving a 1982 Corolla that was a bucket. The seats were ripped and torn. It was a manual. It was horrific. So bad that Susanna never sat in it. She's like, I'm not being seen in that car. We need to buy a new car. True story. So we did. We bought a new car, which was awesome. It might be going on a holiday, going overseas, doing a trip. Not seeing too much writing, lots of thinking. What are your small rewards? What are the small things to celebrate your wins? What are the big rewards? My big reward for selling our business was moving to Queensland and living in Redcliffe on the water. It's a big reward. I was like, this is awesome. And I've just gone reward number 2 and brought myself a boat, which is even more fun. Because it's just a reminder of, it's not to show off. It's just, you do the work, get the job done, be the ship that's moving, get the results, take the steps you need to, and go, you know what? I've done everything right the whole way through. It's time to save up the money and do something special. If it's a lunch, a breakfast, or a dinner, or a car, or a boat, or a house, whatever that looks like to you, then that's absolutely fine as well. Now, when we moved back from the UK, I was 25. We had about $5,000 in the bank, if that, maybe 3. And we had a backpack, a laptop, and a camera. It's all we had at 25. Nothing. No bed, no furniture, no extra clothes apart from the ones that we could carry. That's all that we had and started from scratch. So I'm not coming from a place where it's like, yeah, but my parents gave me a house and my parents did this and my parents have done this and I've got this and I'm already set up. Like at 25, we had nothing. We started the business with nothing. So much so I had to borrow $20,000 from Susanna's parents. Hi, I'm marrying your daughter and can I please have $20,000? And we had to start from the ground up, right? So, what are your rewards? Now, the fun part about this wheel, there she is again. It's time to check in to see how you went. Not now, call it 6 months' time, 3 months' time, in a year. Go back and look at your wheel and see how you've developed in that area of your life. Now, the best part about the wheel, this is the wheel that just keeps on giving. Once you've done one segment of your wheel and you've filled out all of these properly and you've done it properly, you just got to go back, choose another area, start again. Then you go back, choose another area, start again. Go back, choose another area, start again. What will happen is that what you'll find is the wheel that kind of started like this in business, realize that I really need to make some changes in my life. Now, this isn't my wheel, but as an example, over time, things will change just ever so slightly. Let's just say I was working on my health. You know what? Look at the effect it has on everything else. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And over time, your bumpy wheel became a little bit more rounded. For those people that were students, it started off a little bit average, but now you're expanding your wheel. Your life is becoming a little bit more well-rounded, but you've got to do the health check to see it. Go back on your page. I haven't got a slide for this on purpose. There's a couple of questions here for you. In the future, what has changed in your overall life satisfaction? Which area has improved and which have declined? What has really worked? What has not worked? What did I learn about myself in the process? What was your commitment level like? How committed were you? Now, it's really easy to sit here and do this wheel and walk away and go, well, that was nice. Awesome talk, Mark. But if you actually do the work, if you actually take the time to do this properly, I can tell you now, your life will change. It's going to change. It has to change because you are the ship that's moving. You're making a decision, a conscious choice to have a better life, to work in the areas you need to, for God to be able to steer you in the direction that He wants you to go, and He's going to set the course for you, but you might just not know it yet. Until you actually step out and do the work, you're just going to be standing still and doing nothing. You'll look back on next year and realize that you're in exactly the same position as you were. And that's not fun for anyone. So there's a saying that you hear, just fake it until you make it. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. I hate fake it till you make it. I reckon it sounds fake. It's not very nice. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to fake what I'm doing. I'd prefer to act it as if you've already become it. Act as if you're already there. Now, I can tell you now that this presentation here in front of you guys is a presentation that I'm going to be using parts of it in the Vegas talk. And I'm not even there yet. It's 8 weeks away. I could have done it really easy and kind of topped out a little bit and gave you a really kind of dodgy presentation and not even done a PowerPoint kind of deck at all, and just tell you what, would have saved hours, Pastor Joe, hours. But I made a decision that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to make it look as professional as it can, and if I was to be compared with other people who are doing self-help and talks and presentations like this, I want to be in a position that I'm going to act as if I'm going to be talking to 2,000 people. Regardless of what the audience is, I will always make my presence 100%. And the only reason why it looks like this is because my wife is awesome. I take no credit for the presentation, how it looks, or for your booklets. That's all my wife, Susanna. So guys, if you're smart, yeah, clap. Yeah. So guys and girls, if you're smart, hook up with people that really compliment you and make you look really good as well. It definitely helps in the presentation. All right. Now, who's ever done the awareness test? If you have, zip it. Halfway through this awareness test, there's going to be a question, okay? And I want you to shout it out for me, okay? Are you ready? You'll have to pay attention. Don't blink.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
How many?
The answer is 13.
Who got it right? Who got it wrong?
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
How cool is that? I love that. That's just an ad from London Transport. Who saw the moonwalking bear? Who saw the moonwalking bear and got the answer right? Who saw the moonwalking bear and got totally distracted and lost count of where they were? Yeah, exactly. Who did not see the moonwalking bear? Congratulations, you did your task properly, you got the answer right, good job. For those people who saw the moonwalking bear and got distracted, you had one job to do. Do not get distracted, because all you need to do is focus on the task and not what everybody else is doing. Which leads me straight into, don't compare your back end with someone else's front end. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Don't compare your back end with someone else's front end. You don't know what's happening over this side in people's world. You don't know the inheritance that they got, or the business help from their parents that they got, or the fact that their mum and dad were a singer and they have been singing since they're 3, or whatever that situation is. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes of different people in your world. So don't compare yourself, especially in the business space. You look over here and it's like, oh, they're just so successful. They've got so many clients. They take so many beautiful photos. They're just a natural. Gee, they're lucky. They're so lucky to have, to be able to achieve this. You don't know all the background. I've got photographers in the coaching space that, it's coaching. Everyone's a peacock. It's ridiculous. It's quite funny, actually, in the photography world. Everyone's a peacock and everyone wants to tell everyone how awesome they are, which is quite easy to tear people down, because they're the ones trying to elevate themselves by tearing other people down. When I moved to Queensland, there's a few people that went, why is he coaching for? He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what's happened. He's, all these nittering. These people do not know the story that I've told you today. For 15 years, going from not being able to do anything to talking in Vegas. Just sounds cool when I say that. Vegas. Don't compare your back end with someone else's front end. You don't know what's happening in their world, so don't take it on. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep an eye on your own goals. Keep an eye on what you want to do in your business, in your life, in your lifestyle, because the rest will sort it out. Don't compare yourself with other people, because you just don't know what's happening behind the scenes and you don't know what they're going through. Okay? Most of the time, it's a facade anyway. All right? So really take focus on yourself, focus on where you want to go, and don't worry about other people. Just look after yourself. All right? Can you do that for me? Awesome. Now I believe that